Like, subscribe, and share to Voices of Linden TV.
Welcome to another edition of the Let's Talk Show. I'm your host, Andrew James. And tonight I'm pleased to have with us in studio via Zoom, Miss Jenelle Grant, MHS student year 1988 to 1992. And Ms. Grant was also a teacher at Mackenzie High School in the year 1995 to 1997. I'm pleased to welcome Ms. Jenelle Grant.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me. Good night, everyone.
Welcome aboard, Ms. Grant. Just before we start, just want to thank you officially for being a wonderful teacher to me. I know a lot of students take this for granted, but not a lot of students can say they have the opportunity to speak to their former teacher in this manner and acknowledge them for all their kindness and all their encouragement and so on they've instilled into our little minds. And for this, I would like to start off with a little notice of appreciation. Ms. Grant, thank you for being a wonderful teacher. You've inspired in me a love for learning and made me feel like I could have asked you anything. You've always had patience for my questions and knew just how to explain the answers. My fond memories of the time in your classroom will last a lifetime. Welcome to the show, and it's so nice to see you after so many years.
Well, Andrew, I am so honored by your tribute. And honestly, I am so grateful that I had an opportunity in being a small part of molding the wonderful young man that you are today. And I told you before, I am so, so proud of you.
Thank you very much. It means the world to me, especially coming from someone like you. Ms. Grant, looking back in time, could you tell us a little bit about your time at Mackenzie High School as a student and as a teacher?
Oh, wow, Andrew. So I spent 5 or maybe 6 years at Mackenzie High School, but I want to highlight the best grade I think I was in was 2A. My form mistress was Miss Anne Marie Singh, and I had a wonderful privilege of worshiping with her for a few years at our church in New York. But the memories that I am most fond of in 2A was our assembly time. And that particular memory stands out. It's a song that was sung by my classmates, Sarah Richards and Sherry Doris Walker. And today it is still a very powerful song. I want to just play a little bit of it for you. And this is what it sounds like. And it's gentle, ever sweet. This song reminded us so much of the love of not only of God, but of our school family and our teachers. Assembly time was awesome. We had crazy people like Godwin Edwards, and it was just fun. And my fondest memories were from those assemblies. My best assembly was 2A. Mm-hmm. As a teacher, my fondest memories were of I can't even say this, but grading papers in the staff room at the end of the year and doing report cards. Those are my fondest memories. I shared a staff room with Mr. Yusuf Muhammad, Noella London, Jamela Bailey, Abina Betoon. A whole host of talent and personality and passionate people. And I had a really good time at Mackenzie High School.
Nicely said, nicely said. Ms. Grant, through your own lens, what do you think teachers in Linden can do to enhance the learning experience for students at Mackenzie High School?
Well, Andrew, we're talking about teachers and we're talking at a specific geographic location, but I'm going to just pull out from Linden for a little bit and say that teachers all over, we need to be empathetic. We need to be encouraging, and we need to be there for our students. For Linden in particular, I have not been home in a long time. I don't know what environment looks like, but I can only assume that the challenges where I am are the same in Linden. And I would encourage teachers back home to just listen with your eyes, listen with your ears, listen with your heart, empathize with our students, because they're humans and they're young people too. And there are lots of times we try to reach our students and we can't because of all the challenges that are faced, and we think
Mhm.
it's just, it's just okay, they're being defiant or they're being rude or they're being whatever we want, whatever label we want to place. But be encouraged, we have to listen in order for us to be understood, and it takes a lot. It calls for a mindset change, and it calls for a lot of empathy and a lot of understanding, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So that's my encouragement.
I just wanna give you a shout out personally. I was never a model student. I think everyone that watches this video know that. but but I can remember once in my lifetime, and it's probably once I ever got top grades in any course. Maybe I think I know in Guyana it's one time, and that was in your class. And I don't know if I got it because academically surprised myself that one semester, or if you had seen more in me, and I don't know what it is, but I really appreciate being in your class, and of course coming out. I believe it was history. I think I scored a first place in history, and that's probably the only first I ever got in all of Guyana, in all of my studies in Guyana. So thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. Thinking back about your time as a student, Ms. Grant, can you tell us some of the struggles that you experienced as of course, a young girl? And what do you think we can do to influence change in the life of some young person to ensure that they don't quite experience what you went through in terms of, I think earlier you spoke about some of the challenges you experienced growing up. If you can touch a little bit on that, I think it'll be wonderful.
Look, first part of the question, the challenges as a young girl at Mackenzie High School. I hated PE, hated physical education, for the main reasons that we had to change in these tiny, tiny restrooms. So there was one bathroom in Lycius. Our PE teacher was Mr. Michael Goodluck. Our classes maxed out at about 40 students. So about 70% of that were females. We had a little time to change. And I can tell you that the space, the confinement, the funk of, the restroom, and it caused a lot of embarrassment. It caused a lot of things that young women should not experience. So that was a challenge to me. And I can tell you today, I hate exercise. I don't like it. And it's because of my, those early years of having the dread of doing PE and the changing in and changing out, no AC, not the proper hygiene as we would have now. So that was a challenge to me as a young woman. And as a young person, one of my academic challenges is understanding that I had a learning disability where math is concerned. And there wasn't an outlet, there wasn't a tutoring process or anything like that for me at the time. And I would like to see that change. I know back then we had to pay for lessons, and that was an economic barrier. If you couldn't pay how much, $40 or whatever it is, you couldn't afford to go to lessons. But what I would like to see is that teachers offer tutoring on their time, maybe for free, not maybe for free, but for free. If it's early in the morning or in the afternoon or whatever it is. So those are my two challenges: hygiene and academic tutoring.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Based on what you said, it seems like you've been out to Guyana for, I guess, 24 or so years. Could you share with us, for folks who haven't seen you in a while, exactly what it is that Ms. Grant has been up to?
Oh, yes, Andrew. So you're correct. 24 years and counting. Came to America, went to school, jumped right back into education, moved from one state to another. I got married 20 years ago this year, two daughters. So in and out of education, actually, I took a break after the pandemic started. And because an old student encouraged me to get back into it, I seriously considered it. And I am going to dip my foot back into classroom this coming fall. So in the meantime, I've been trying my hand at a little entrepreneurship and trying to get my best life together because I am getting old.
Hmm.
So
Very
yes.
good and very good. Congratulations, first of all, and 20 years of marriage. What do you think we can do as an organization or as an association to influence change in the lives of current Mackenzie High School students or one student in specific?
Okay, Andrew, I'm going to take that question based on the challenges I faced as a student and as a teacher. So one of the challenges I faced was not having enough equipment, whether it be in home economics, agricultural science, or sciences in the lab. You know, we were always short of something, short of equipment or things that we had to share too many things. And I think as an association, it would be wonderful if we start initiatives to ensure that no child is left behind. No child has to share a test tube or group up to do anything. And everyone has, you know, something for themselves, whether it be calculators in math classes. You know, where I am, we have class set of calculators. If we have 25 students, we have 25 calculators. You know, we should be able to supply every teacher, every math teacher with those supplies. And kids know that, listen, if I don't have the tools that I need, the school has it or my teacher has it. So those are one of the challenges I face as a student. And I think as an association, we can help, you know, bridge that gap if it's still present now. Another one of the challenges for me personally, and speaking to two old classmates recently in the past 2 years or so, is mental health. And I think mental health is a challenge that is not unique to where we are in North America, but it's something that touches every country and every young person. And speaking for myself, you know, we need to be very cognizant of the signs that, you know, our students present as teachers, and be very mindful of how we approach students, because we never know when they're on the edge. And we have to, teachers have to be that catalyst to bring them from the edge, because we can easily put them over there. So mental health is one of those challenges. I think as an association, we can come together with administration or all the powers, that all the stakeholders, to get a grip of it, not only for our students, but for our teachers as well, so we can understand, empathize, encourage, and you know, in order to educate our students.
Very nicely said. The month of May, I know in the United States, is recognized as Teachers Appreciation Month. On behalf of myself and all your former students, I just want to let you know that we love, we appreciate, and we just want to recognize you in this special month, Ms. Grant.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Anyone you want to shout out? I'm going to ask you, this is going to be a trick question as well.
Okay.
Looking back in time, can you remember any student you taught at Mackenzie High School in the year 1995 and 1997? And try not to mention my name. Try to someone else if possible. Any
Okay.
name that stood out for you, and if you can tell us why.
Okay. One of the first names that stands out for me is Omiana Hamilton. That young woman, and I'm going to share with you, her dad was my favorite teacher to date. And incidentally, he passed the day that I gave birth to my older daughter. So I'll never forget that. But he had taught me so much. That's the best teacher in my entire life, from kindergarten to college. And Omiana was the best student I've had in my entire life. And she doesn't know this, but that young woman was tenacious, she was smart, and she was a whole bottle of energy. She reminded me so much of me when I was her age. So I want to shout out Miss Umiana Hamilton. She knows I'm super proud of her. And her dad, I know we had our ups and downs, but her dad was the best teacher, unorthodox, out of the box, the best teacher that I've had in my entire life. I've had some other students. I can shout out. I'm going to shout you out. Cheyenne Albert, Royston Telford, Ayana Liverpool. Oh my goodness, Kathy Ann Morgan, my baby. Michelle Easton. I still have your pictures in my little student album to date. I'm seeing faces. I cannot remember names. Timothy Reynolds, I had to get familiar with him. Devon Williams. Oh my goodness. Alvin Bellamy. That helped me to be the teacher I am today. And I'm happy I had those early on in my career. But those are some of the most memorable students. They were the students that made teaching fun.
Yes.
And yeah, Seneca McCarthy, Sharma Solomon, who challenged me, and I think I challenged him too. And of course, the young woman who eventually became my sister-in-law, Gracelyn Boston, just to name a few. And I know there are tons of other names, but we don't have time for me to go through the roster.
Alrighty, we're just pushing up against time. I guess we'll get together in another interview and you can mention all the other names that you forgot. Just in closing, what advice would you give to young girls at Mackenzie High School?
Well, the young girls, I know it's hard for us to find our identity at the ages 11 to 15 or 16, but be your authentic self. It doesn't pay to be anything that anybody wants you to be. Just be you. It's going to help you in the long run. Life, life can be long or short depending on circumstances, but life is not running away from you. Take your time. Respect yourself, respect your body. Be mindful of the people, the places, and the things you entertain. So that's my advice to young women.
Very nicely said. Ms. Grant, I think we'll leave it there. On behalf of everyone at the Mackenzie High School Alumni Association North American Chapter, and of course, the Let's Talk show, we want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for sharing your time with us and, of course, your experience as it relates to your time at Mackenzie High School. Thank you very much. Keep teaching, keep shining, keep influence change in the lives of young people in a positive way. And for that, we say thank you. God bless you. Stay safe, and we will be in touch soon.
Thank you, Andrew. You have a blessed night and a wonderful week.
Good night. Thanks again. God bless you.